What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Gridiron Uncensored. It is officially football week, guys. We got kickoff coming this Saturday, week 0. Some of you don't believe in it. If you don't, you're wrong. We got a good game coming up. A couple of them, actually, I'm excited for. So before we get into the season, we're doing our playoff predictions. Obviously, things can change. Nobody knows what's actually going to happen, but we're just going to throw it out there, see what, after all the reviews that we've done, how we're feeling on this year. So guys, I think we just go ahead and jump right into it. And, then we're going to go a couple more little 7-on-7s coming up. And then, of course, we will do the week 0, breakdown later in this week. So let's go ahead. I'll jump into it. And I'll give you my playoff bracket. Dude, I racked my head over this damn thing for forever.
I still hate mine. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I'm not happy with it.
I finished writing it out this evening. I'm like, nope, that's not gonna work, but I'm gonna go with it anyway.
Yeah. Dude, those last couple of spots, I was just like, oh my gosh, man.
I got a couple
There's like 8 teams.
I got a few scribbles.
But I've got a lot of teams that I think are gonna end up like in the 10-2 range. Maybe a few 9-3 might even have a resume that some might, say have the ability to get in. But I think there's going to be a lot of 10-2 teams. So this is where I'm going for. And I'm starting off. I'll work my way in from the back end. 12, I've got Texas State. I think they're going to end up winning it. I think it's going to be really close between them, Liberty. But I feel like Texas State's strength of schedule, if they do what I think they might this season, they'll get in at that 12 slot. 11, I've got Florida State. 10, I've got Tennessee. 9, Ole Miss. 8, Alabama. 7, Arizona. 6, Mizzou. 5, Ohio State. And then the top 4, the top conference champions, which we've already posted. But I've got NC State coming in at 4, Iowa State at 3, Oregon at 2, and Georgia at 1. That's how I think it's going to shake out. And again, I racked my head over those last few spots so many times. Like there's so many possibilities of even Big 12 teams, jumping in there. When I looked at their schedules and their records and how it all breaks down, it's just going to come up to strength of schedule. I feel like when it all boils down, and some of these 10-2 teams who I have on them, because I did the playoff predictors page and I went through every single game, and it's going to be close, guys. And there's going to be some fan bases that are absolutely pissed off. But that's my 12. And then I guess if you want, I'll do bracket. So the 8 and 9 would be Alabama versus Ole Miss. I got Alabama advancing through that, and then they would meet Georgia, and I have Georgia winning that game and going to the Final Four. Ohio State, number 5 versus 12. Texas State, I got Ohio State winning that one. Facing number 4, NC State. I think Ohio State would win that one. It might be a little closer than what others would say, but that would end up for Georgia and Ohio State on one side of the bracket. The other side, I've got Tennessee versus Arizona. In Arizona, I think that's a really cool game if that happens. But I think Tennessee would squeak by that one. They would play Oregon, and Oregon would win that, putting them into the Final Four. And then the other one, the other bracket, Florida State, Mizzou. I think Florida State pushes on. They play Iowa State and beat Iowa State, get to the Final Four. And then the final would be Georgia versus Oregon. And I think Oregon finally comes away with their first national championship. Georgia's got a hell of a slate. And if they can make it through the regular season, I think they're going to have one loss. But if they make it all the way through that, they play Alabama again, they play Ohio State again, how much gas can they have in their tank by the time they get to the national championship game? That's my only concern for them. But it could go either way. So that's my shakedown on how I think it works. Boys, Blake, you want to go on? Tell us yours.
Yeah, go ahead, Blake. I'm embarrassed with mine, so I'll just be like, whatever. I'm going to take all the heat for this one.
So I've got Liberty taking the 12 spot. I've got Bama at 11, Kansas State at 10, Clemson at 9, or Michigan at 9, excuse me, Clemson at 8. I've got Texas at 7, Oregon at 6, Missouri at 5, Utah at 4. I've got Florida State at 3, I've got Georgia at 2 and Ohio State at 1. And then going into my bracket, I've got 8 and 9. I've got Clemson playing Michigan. And I've got Clemson winning that game, advancing on to face Ohio State. I've got Missouri playing Liberty. Missouri winning that game, going on to Utah. So I've got Ohio State and Utah on one side of the bracket. And then I've got Texas facing Kansas State, with Texas winning that game, going on to play Georgia. I've got Oregon and Bama, with Bama beating Oregon, going on to play Florida State. And then my final 4, this is where I know somebody and this is one that I've went back and forth on a lot, because these are the toughest picks right here, in my opinion. But I've got Ohio State beating Clemson and Ohio State beating Utah, going to the national championship. I've got, which obviously means I've got Utah beating Missouri. I've got Bama beating Florida State. Homer. I've got
that damn Gump.
Yep. I've got Georgia.
Ain't seen Homer yet. You ain't seen Homer yet. Just wait.
Oh, God. Michigan national champions back to back, baby. I've got where was I? I got Georgia over Texas, and then I have Georgia beating Alabama. I think Bama beats them in the regular season, and then I've got Ohio State over Utah. The national championship game is Ohio State and Georgia, and I have Georgia winning it all.
There you go.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, let's see it, Trevor.
Be easy on me, guys and gals. Be easy on me. All right, 12. I got Memphis getting in there.
Okay.
11. I got Okie State. 10. I got Ole Miss. 9. I have Ohio State. 8. I have Mizzou. 7. I have Oregon. 6. UGA. 5. Alabama. 4. Utah. 3. Clemson. 2. Michigan. 1. Texas.
Oh man, that's a hell of a bracket, though, man. I mean,
yeah, it's not bad.
If it plays out that way, that would be the most insanity. Like every game, even like the 12 seed Memphis going up. So okay, we'll just go into the bracket. I'll start on the left side, then I'll go to the right side.
Okay.
So on the left side, it would be 9 and 8, which would be OSU versus Mizzou, which I think would be a hell of a matchup, to be perfectly honest with you. I do have OSU beating them and going on to play University of Texas. So that would be insane as well.
Yeah.
And then 5 versus 12, that'd be Bama versus Memphis. I have Bama beating Memphis, but I think if it happens, it will be closer than what people expect, because I do think Memphis is a good team. Then Bama versus Utah, I still have Bama beating them. So then I have Ohio State and Utah. Texas, excuse me. I do have UT beating OSU, just because I feel like OSU, from all the way through the regular season, the Big Ten season, plus having to come in and play Mizzou right out the gate, and then by winning that game, and then they have to walk into the monster that is University of Texas. I just think it might be a little much. Even though they are a pretty experienced team, I think it'll be a little tough for them. So I have them, then UT playing Bama, and I do have Bama beating Texas. That is my left side of the bracket. Let's go to my right side now. So, all right. So 10 versus 7, which will be Ole Miss versus Oregon, which, like, if that happens, I'll be excited.
That'd be a dope game, man.
In my bracket, I have Ole Miss actually beating Oregon.
Ooh,
it could happen for sure.
It could,
and I do see it. I see a potential where it could happen. And then I have 6 UGA versus 11 Okie State. Sorry, Okie State. As much as I like you, you ain't got what it takes to take down a UGA team, especially one that got a loss and didn't make it to the championship and win it. Or maybe they made it to the championship, but they didn't win it. But whatever the case. So, yeah, that's what I have there. I have UGA going on to play Clemson. So, Clemson versus UGA. I have UGA going on there. And then I have Ole Miss moving on to play Michigan. Michigan and Ole Miss. I think Michigan wins that. So that goes Michigan, UGA. Now, here is where I know here comes words. This is where what they say, as they say, the rubber meets the road. And this is where I have Michigan beating UGA.
Ooh.
And I have Michigan, Bama Natty, and Bama winning the Natty.
Could you imagine?
Oh, wow. I would cry.
That would.
Could you imagine that bracket? Actually, if I even remotely close, I'll be excited.
The thing is it's not bad. I mean, it's feasible for sure.
I mean, it's got just about every powerhouse in the country on it, for lack of a better term. But
look,
see, I didn't have
so
Ole
many
Miss
scenarios.
Yeah. But I think they could definitely be a playoff team. Oh. But like at the 10 slot for Ole Miss, I think that's super reasonable for them to make it into the 10 spot. No, I agree. I just have a lot of faith in Missouri, and I don't see there being 5 SEC teams in the playoff. That's why I had to leave Ole Miss out, because I see them being a 2-loss team. I mean, it was,
and honestly, that's what that's the hardest part for me is like when I look at the top 25, or like I'm looking at all these top tier teams, like I'm looking at I literally sat there and looked at the Big 12. I was like, I don't got it. They don't got it.
Yeah.
Like I managed to get 2 of them in.
Yeah.
I mean, anything outside of that, I don't think. ACC, now there is a definite argument to be made that there should be 2 ACC teams in. Definite. Yeah. I fully admit that FSU could easily have a great season and be in it 100%. But that's where like I parted ways. I was like, I have to make a decision one way or the other. And I'm just like, the more likely scenario for me is that more Big Ten and SEC teams make it in than a second ACC team.
Yeah, I actually put that poll on Twitter, and a lot of people said that they don't think ACC will get more than 1. So I mean, that's a possibility. My biggest question is, how are the conference championship game losers? How are they going to be treated when it comes down to it? Real quick aside, all these brackets that we mentioned, we've got graphics for them. They will be on the main post on social media for those that listen on Spotify or the podcast sites. If you don't watch or even on YouTube, it will be on our main post, so you can see what we're talking about. But yeah, biggest question again, tiebreakers, I guess, when it all comes down to it. But how does the conference championship losers, how are they treated? Because I've got, for the ACC, I've got NC State beating, and I think NC State will probably be 10-2 by the time the season's done. I've got them losing to Tennessee early and then dropping 1 in conference. But I think they would go to the conference championship game, and I think they beat Clemson. But I've got Clemson at 10-2, and if they lose and become 10-3, I mean, that could oust them right out of the playoff conversation. So I mean, that's why they're not in my bracket. And when I went through all of these games, and like I said, I've got a lot of 10-2 teams. Ole Miss at 10-2, and I think they might beat Georgia during the regular season. Just because of the schedule Georgia deals with. I don't think Georgia's coming out completely clean. But who they lose to. Yeah, that might leave Ole Miss out. So I don't know. It's just going to come down to.
I'll have a hard time believing that anyone comes out unscathed.
Yeah,
season.
I think for regular season, I think Ohio State has the best chance during the regular season, but I still have Oregon beating them in the Big Ten championship game coming out of it. So I don't know. It's going to be a slaughterhouse this season, is what it feels like to me.
I'm excited. I'm for it. I'm for it all.
Yeah, all these teams. The insanity. There's so many teams that are just right there. Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Utah, Penn State. I think they've got 10-2, but I just don't think their strength of schedule will be good enough, depending on who they lose to. But there's so many options, guys. So let us know again your thoughts. Who do you think is going to make it in on your bracket? Tell us why we're wrong, or why the hell you think we're right.
I'm fully prepared for the statements. I'm just ready.
Hey, look, it's gonna happen, but it's just you never know, man.
This is what it says, though. The 2024 way too early college football playoff.
Yeah,
because I'm sure end of season we will redo this for the actual,
Oh yeah,
playoff
like
when
what,
it
like
gets
probably
closer.
when does the first college football playoff rankings come out again?
It's like week 8, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
8,
you go. Yeah, so I feel like we could probably do it right about that time.
Do like a
Do
mid-season, something like that,
yeah,
updated.
like a mid-season. Yeah.
After some of it shakes out. But I mean,
Who
this is our
knows?
preseason, just who we've really, when we've done our research, even though some of you guys say we haven't done it, trust us, we've looked into this shit, and this is just how we feel. Everybody's got different feelings on it, so this is how we feel, and we'll see what happens. But I'm really excited about these matchups. I like the 12 team. Again, if you I can't remember if I said it or not, but the top 4 will get the automatic buys. That's going to be your highest ranked conference champions. And then the group of 5 does get an auto bid. So those of you that might be shocked by that, they do. And I'm here for it. I think they should.
The best team in the Power 5 or the group of 5 should definitely have a shot.
I like it. I like that ability over, a team that say winning the SEC or Big Ten comes out with 3 or 4 losses and they couldn't beat any single good team, in their conference schedule. Why should they get a chance over somebody that's busted their ass just as hard and come out maybe unscathed? So I don't know. That's the way I see it. But you got 5 auto bids, 7 is the best of the rest, and it all will depend on the final rankings from the College Football Playoff Committee. And we'll see. We've seen how that goes. So there might be some pissed off fans, boy. I'll tell you what. But hey, it's worse, what happened last year, I think, than say, the 14th ranked team. Like, wow, goddamn, we should have had a chance. Well, maybe you shouldn't have lost an extra game in your regular season. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But I think it's going to catch some fire. Boys, anything that you want to talk about? Any specific matchups you're really interested in on your brackets? Like I said, for mine, I really like, if it happens, the Tennessee, Arizona, Nico and Fafita going at it, toe to toe. I think that would be awesome quarterback battle. At Ole Miss, Alabama, of course, it's huge going to Tuscaloosa. I just love that they're home games for the highest ranked seeds. I think that's awesome, and that should always be that way.
Yep. I hope they don't ever change that.
If when Clemson and Ohio State play, like that rematch from, was it Justin Fields? That would be a good one. Then Bama, Florida State. Florida State's got a bunch of Bama transfers on their team. Mm-hmm. And then Florida State, all the salt in their mouth over a better Bama team getting in last year. So
just stoking the fire, aren't you?
It's only one of them that's going to come at me. So
that's fair.
For me, it's the first one I talked about, the OSU Mizzou game.
Yeah,
I find that one super intriguing.
Rematch of last year.
Rematch.
Yep. And then honestly going down the line a little bit, going on the opposite side, like as I know a Michigan fan, but as a college football fan, I want to see Michigan's how they stack up against UGA, and if what I think is true, and I think that they stack up a lot better than the first time that they played them in the playoff 2-3 years ago, whatever.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah, I'd be really curious to see it. And for Michigan, of course, it all hinges on Alex Orji. I think the offensive line is going to be just fine. The defense is going to be stout. It's just the quarterback play. If he's in that 63% passing, I think you could see a Michigan team that is maybe 11-1 at the end of the season, just based on what they've got. But if lower than that, that's why I've got them at 9-3, just because I need to see it from Orji before I put more faith in them. But I think that team's going to be. I think it's going to be more dangerous than what people are saying.
Look, as far from what I've read and from what I've heard from the national pundits, is that there's this prevailing thought that somehow Michigan is now all of a sudden a second-rate team, and I think somebody somewhere is just like loving the fact that they're just throwing this at them, because it's got to be that. Like, I feel like they're paying these guys at this point to just give them all the material.
Rat poison.
Like, good God.
Right.
Like, there was, who was it?
You got to take that.
It was the guy from, I don't know. He's a blind guy. I don't know his name. He does a podcast, but he's like Michigan. What?
Josh
It's
Pate.
it's not Tate. It's the other guy. I think he does it for, I want to say Fanatics or something. I don't know what his
I'm
name
not
is.
sure.
I can't think of his name, but I've seen him a few times, and he's probably the only person I've seen where he's just like, Michigan is about the most underrated team in all of college football right now.
Yeah.
And no one's given them a shot and so that's why I'm going to give them a shot.
Well, hey, again, there's so many possibilities for this year. It feels like I feel like a lot of teams are right on the cusp of, they can make it in. We'll see how many, are battling for that final, spot or two when the season ends. But again, we will post all these brackets on our post when we share this episode. So stay tuned for that, and make sure you guys like, share, comment, all that stuff. Let us know what you think. Roast us if you will, but look, we've done our research, guys. Okay, this is our research. You do your own. Let us know what you think, and come back to us.
You know what? If you don't like it, just blow us up. Blow us up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just start typing away.
Yeah, please. Yeah, we
I do zero research. I just say things and hope people get really mad about it.
He's just a damn gump. That's all he is.
No research.
Oh Lord. But all right. Well, thank you guys again. We appreciate all of you that have listened over the last year. I think we're on like 1 year now.
Yeah,
doing
we
this.
are officially into the full year of this.
Yeah, so we appreciate it, of course, and it's been great. So we look forward to doing it more. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see you around.